lowest number of state and federal officials since Reconstruction. We have the lowest number in our caucus since 1929, and we've lost over 60 seats since 2010. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and you keep getting the same results. So, time to move on, I think.
That's Ohio Congressman Tim Ryan challenging Nancy Pelosi for the House Democratic leadership position. After the Hillary Clinton debacle on Election Day, Ryan says time for his party to change course. So the question is, Steve, is he right? He's from that Rust Belt that got it handed to him. We've heard rumored names here. A friend to the show, Joe Crowley, the congressman from Queens, one of the names, although geographically, if you're going from San Francisco to New York City, I'm not so sure that changes as much as I think he'd be really good at the job. Does the party, was the problem the messenger, the message, or also, the geography? What does the party have to do to get its act together?
Well, first of all, as we've talked about on your show for months now, Hillary had two particular historical disadvantages. One, she was going to be the first woman, and that was going to be a hard ceiling to break through. And number two, for 35 years, no two-term president has ever been succeeded in office by someone from their own party.
But we all thought she was going to win. And
but those were historical realities, historical facts that she had to overcome. But I think at the end of the day, people wanted change. They didn't believe that she was going to give them the change. And I thought, amongst the other things, the underperformance by Obama voters this time around, as well as the Comey email revelations, Hillary's remark in September that Trump supporters were part of a basket of deplorables really offended a lot of people.
But I want to get to it real short. I make you head of the DNC. You're hearing rank and file that's worried here. And 18 is going to be a tough year in terms of the Senate seats, too, okay? Do you say, let's start with the House. Nancy's had her time. We got to bring in somebody else to be a leader here? Or do you think you say, it's not her fault that Hillary lost and we didn't pick up really any seats to speak of. Let's give her 2 more years. What would you do?
Well, I think if anybody had thought that Hillary Clinton was going to lose, they would have groomed other men and women other than my dear friend Tim Ryan. Tim is a terrific guy, written a couple of great books on nutrition and meditation, and I think he'll be a great governor of Ohio or U.S. Senator from Ohio. But I don't think people picked Tim to replace Mrs. Pelosi, so perhaps she should get 2 more years while they groom other men and women to take her spot.
It feels to me like the push against Pelosi is something of a knee-jerk reaction. Democrats are saying, well, we need to change something, and so they're looking at her. Yes, she's particularly well-known, and yes, Republicans across the country run against her. But I don't think you're going to change a lot of those votes by changing who the minority leader is in the House of Representatives or who the Democratic leader is in the House of Representatives.
Well, why doesn't it hurt? Why would it hurt?
Well, because she has the experience and the strategy to be able to counteract a Trump agenda through her experience as former Speaker and now Minority Leader of the House. She's probably better positioned and more experienced than anybody.
Did she really do that? Let me just be argumentative. Did it really work against Bush?
I don't recall a lot of Bush's agenda getting through in the last couple of years of his administration when Democrats had the majority back.
Okay, but you won't have the majority this time. He certainly got the votes for Iraq. He certainly got what he needed. Well, at the end of the day, isn't she just money? Isn't she just a face that you can raise money against as Republicans? Isn't she a confirmation that, the Democratic Party, you go to the liberal elites in San Francisco, they don't speak for middle America anymore?
I think there is a need for Democrats to bring people from other parts of the country into leadership, and as the congressman said, to groom the next generation. But you would know better than anybody at the table what a minority leader can do in terms of blocking agendas.
Let's just say this. I do agree with you, Andrew. She has tremendous experience and capability. And take the Obamacare vote, the Affordable Health Care Act vote. Many have said that without her arm twisting and her leadership in the months and months and months of negotiation with her own Democratic House members, it wouldn't have passed.
So I want to ask you the next question. We all believe that in the first 100 days, one of the things, forget about the Supreme Court, we're going to talk about Obamacare later, infrastructure. It's a no-brainer for me. Maybe we're going to add to the deficit tremendously, but at the end of the day, real job, shovel ready, guys in hard hats, people can say, oh, look, and there's going to be stuff at the end of the day that we built. It's going to win-win. The Democrats could say, love a country, we're going to put America first here, we're going to go do this. Schumer probably can wrangle enough votes here that it won't even be a big thing. Democrats have been trying to do this for a long time. But I remember McConnell saying, my first priority, make sure this guy doesn't get another 4 years after this. Didn't work for him. But politically, are you handing Trump, if you give him this and give him the credit for this, are you emboldening him and making him even more powerful? And are you not taking a playbook out of the Republicans' book? And don't be Pollyannish with me. I'm talking politically. What's the smarter move for the Democrats to do?
Well, I don't mean to be Pollyannish, but that's the job of those elected, is to move the country forward. But here's the thing that's not been defined. What does Trump mean when he says he wants to support construction of infrastructure? Many of us have been for this for decades, and Republicans stopped the Democrats from doing it. And Trump will have to drag the Tea Partiers by the nose to get their votes, if he can get any of them. He'll have to get it done with Democrat votes and some Republican votes. The question is, does he do infrastructure with private money, a combination of private and public money, a private infrastructure bank, or does he use federal money, which is the traditional way? And the question is, if he uses private and money along with public money, will there be opportunities for cronyism?
Oh my God.
Will there be opportunities for, as you mentioned in your editorial, will there be opportunities for cronyism? But beyond that, why should we be spending federal money on things that the private sector would make a profit at and do anyway? Some things are really the role of government to do, like our military, where there is no profit, and perhaps some infrastructure projects that are not profit-making.
Instinctively, there's a part that says, I've heard Democrats say that, hey, listen, these guys have gummed up the works at every chance they can. Every initiative, from Obama stepped in office, they delegitimized and everything. And here we are, and we're going to turn over something that they stood in the way for us forever, just so that he's going to look good. What are we, crazy? Why do we fight by a different set of rules than they do?
I think there's a greater desire among elected Democrats to advance the agenda of the country and to get stuff done, as the congressman was saying. And they want to be seen in contrast to Republicans who are obstructionists to Obama for all of those years.
We'll look at that in history's prism as naive?
I think to a certain degree we will. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Democrats will end up opposing the infrastructure investment because most of the talk has been about public-private partnerships, which ostensibly is giving away the keys to the private entities who would then be picking up the,
And I'll bet anybody right now at this table that the non-nuanced president-elect will somehow, some way make it pretty clear that he's going to try and funnel some of that money to people both that he knows or to his own.
But even if he doesn't, the whole definition of the private-public partnership is that most of the proceeds and most of the benefits are going to wind up going to the private company with public entities and public tax dollars paying for it.
I got to hit a break here. All right, when we come back, closer to home, if you will, Andrew Cuomo is taking the opportunity of some of the things said by the incoming president to take him to task. He's also trying to rally Democrats not to throw in the towel. Are we seeing right now the groundwork of a person who's looking ahead to 2020?